Heading into the end of the year, what are some final successful things that I want you to develop as you move forward in life? Teamwork is essential. You are going to be part of a team, let's see, in some way, shape, or form for the rest of your life. You're going to be on a team in maybe not just sports, but you're going to be in a team with your friends. You're going to be in a team with your family. Not only your current family, but maybe a future family that you have for yourself. You're going to be a part of a team in the workplace. It could be a big team. I'm a part of this big team at my organization, at the place I work for, and I'm also a part of a smaller team within that big team. You can have a team in sports, in clubs, in just your outside hobbies and interests. You can have a lot of teams that aren't necessarily something you call a team. And so how we work in those teams makes a huge deal of difference. It not only makes you have the ability to become more successful, but it allows you to have opportunities to grow and influence others as well. So teamwork is a huge deal today that is needed. In every one of your interviews, you might have had a question about fit and teamwork. At least in my past, in my history, I've always had those questions. Okay? And every team is looking to bring in the best people for that team. Not necessarily the most talented, but the best people with the teamwork skills that allow their team to move forward. We all know that if there's one bad apple on a team, it can take that team and drive it into the ground. And that team will do nothing. They will not be successful. They will not make money. They will not be productive. They will not create the impact that they want to create. So teamwork skills are necessary skills, just like skills of communication, just like skills of knowing how to edit a video. A teamwork skill is a huge thing to have in your tool belt moving forward. So we want to talk about teamwork. And what does that look like? What does it do? Rowing is a great example of teamwork. Have any of you ever been in a canoe or boat with somebody? If you don't have teamwork,
how do you do that for Boy Scouts?
Not going to work well. You're not going to go forward. I've been in canoes before when I was younger, and we struggled. We didn't know how to row. We weren't sure how to do things together. And so we got half the people rowing on the left, half the people rowing on the right, and they're not in sync, and they're not working together, and you have the boat kind of veering off and never going straight.
Have you ever spin in a circle?
Yes, yes. Because no one knows what they're doing, and everyone, at the end of the day, you're spinning in circles. You're not moving anywhere, okay? If you work together, rowing or in a canoe, now everyone's in sync. Everyone has the same goals and objective in mind of, hey, we want to move forward. We're going to communicate because that allows us to move forward and not get stuck, not fall over and tip over. So the canoe and boat reference and rowing reference is huge. You don't realize the communication and teamwork it takes for them to be successful because they rely on each other. If the person in the front isn't doing the work, well then the person in the back is going to get more work rowing in their row. If the person in the middle isn't doing their job, then the people surrounding them are going to have to do more work. If the person in the back who's doing all the communicating, because that's what the person in the back does, they see everything and they communicate, well now everyone else is going to be like, hey, what's going on? What do we got to do? Who do we need? How far do we need to push? Okay? Teamwork is essential. It is essential wherever you're going. And so I want you to make sure I want to make sure you know what that looks like. Okay? You get the class team huddle. Teamwork is underrated. It's underrated. We often don't look at a team that goes bad until we see, oh man, they are just losing money. They're losing games. They're losing people. People are turning on each other. We don't often look at a team and realize it's bad until it goes bad. So we underrate the skill of teamwork and how great it is. When we see great teams, we see great groups or organizations, we just see, man, they got some really good people on their team. They got some really skilled people. Look at those skilled people. We don't realize the intangibles that go into making a great team and the teamwork effort it takes. And so it's an underrated skill that provides great results. If you value teamwork, if you take the underrated portion out of it and rate it high amongst your group, you're going to do some really great things. You're going to see the need to work together, to strive together for the same goals and same purposes. So it's an underrated skill, most definitely. 39% of surveyed employees believe that people in their own organization don't collaborate enough. So people that are working in teams today feel like, man, our teams don't work together enough. They don't collaborate. They don't communicate. They don't get involved in things together. That's not a good thing. That takes a team and drives it down. I don't care what type of teamwork it is, what business it is, whether it's a paper manufacturer in Scranton, Connecticut, or it's a technology guru hub place out in California. Like either way, if you don't have teamwork and you don't have collaboration, you're not going to succeed. You aren't. And so, first of all, you want to make sure you're at a place that does value collaboration. And second, you don't want to be the team person, the team player in that team that they're talking about. You don't want to be the person that's being talked about. Hey, so-and-so, they never work in this team. They never do anything for this team. They don't collaborate. They always just take and run and do their own thing, and they never bring anyone else on board. Okay? You don't want to work with somebody like that. Don't be someone like that. That doesn't create good teamwork. Okay? When any team is trying to bring in new team members, they want to know, what are you going to contribute to the team? What are you going to make our team better at? So make sure you're focusing on that. Second thing is, today's teamwork is crazy. Today's teamwork is something that we've never had before. Okay? Yesteryear's teamwork, you had one farmer who grew the crops, and you had the farmer next to them have the goats, and the goats would eat the grass and the weeds, so that way the crops could grow, and then the guy with the crops could feed the goats, and then the goats could turn out goat butter and goat milk, and great things would happen. That was teamwork, back in the old days. Now, teamwork can expand the globe. You can work with somebody that's in Tokyo, Japan. You can work with somebody who's in California. You can work with somebody all across the world today, which is amazing. So teamwork is expanded. But at the core of teamwork, there's still those intangibles of collaborating, communicating, being an effective leader, delegating. There's all these little intangibles that are still in place, no matter how far you expand the team. Okay? Today's teamwork has gone so much that the New York Times made a study that said telecommunicating in businesses is on the rise. Like more teams are collaborating over conference calls or video chats to communicate and do teamwork than ever before. Any Star Wars fans? You guys Star Wars fans? I remember watching Star Wars when I was younger and seeing when the Jedi spoke and the holograms came up. Like, how cool is that? Like, and we think in the future, but that's where it's going. Like soon, if not already, you're going to be able to put on your VR goggles or your VR glasses and be in a boardroom or be in a meeting room with other coworkers without even being in the physical space together. That's going to happen if it's not close to happening already. And so that brings teamwork to a whole nother level. We obviously already have video chats through Skype or FaceTime or conference calls. That's how we've done a lot of things with the Jagger. I've done that in the past where you get a phone number, you got to call, and you got a PIN you got to put in, and now we can talk over the phone on one group chat. That's already there, but I've been telling you, those holograms of Star Wars, those are going to be happening in the future. And that's part of teamwork. It's part of collaboration.
I mean, there's already wireless, like, Oculus Rifts that they've created, and there are holographic keyboards. So, I mean,
it's
set up a camera and then correlate a way of displaying that image somehow.
That's it.
I already got it.
That's it. I mean, Matt, you could be working on a project. You could be working at building something, and then put on be in that VR space or that hologram space, and be able to see what Josh is building, and be able to look at it from a perspective as if you were already there, even though you're not. Like now we're collaborating. We don't even have to be in the same building, same country. That's crazy to think of, but that's the way collaboration and teams can be going, and you might be a part of that with whatever job you have in the future.
They have a thing called augmented reality, called AR for short. But in some construction companies, they actually use it to model their buildings.
Yeah.
So they'll have like a holographic, building and be like, okay, guys, from this blueprint, this is our end game. Like, this is what we're building.
And it's amazing. All that collaboration, all the technology we have is hopefully going to make teamwork better. It can make it negative, it can detract from it if we don't use it right, but it can make it better. Okay? Up to 80% of businesses use social collaboration tools for enhancing business practices. That's becoming a huge thing. And whether it be VR, whether it be the great team building days, most companies and organizations have usually one day set aside that maybe some people love, some people hate, but they have them set aside where we can do team building events. We can do events that get everybody in the company out of the office and working together on something random and different. That's why you have the company picnics, you have the team events and social outings, because the more and more you interact socially and on that type of platform, the better you're going to be at the job you actually have to do. okay? So a lot of businesses are going to this way, seeing that, hey, we got to bring our teams together. We got to foster and create better teamwork, and that's not just by working and working and working and working and working. That's by removing our team members and putting them in different situations to allow them to grow and connect, okay? And then finally, the illusion of teamwork is always there, though. Fortunately, I'd almost rather have a bad apple on a team than having 5 people think there's actually teamwork going on. That's worse than anything, I think. Okay, the illusion that there actually is teamwork can create more harm, do more damage than anything else. So when you're on a team, you got to be real. Do we really have teamwork? Is our team really working together? And if they aren't, you need to come straight up and face the facts and say, how are we going to get better? Okay. The illusion of teamwork is crazy. The illusion of teamwork is crazy, and we gotta have it. So the reason I show you that is that the best resource for you? No, but I want to open up your eyes and minds to realize that there's so much out there that allows teams to work together and collaborate and build and generate products and content and do great things. You just gotta find those today. You maybe find the right one that works for your team. But you have to collaborate and work together in some way, shape, or form. And so now, today, with technology, we can do that using resources like this, okay, to collaborate and work together. Don't forget about those things. Please don't, okay? Now, if we're looking at some keys in order to make better teams, okay, and find the right team for us, well, we got to know some things, all right? So I need you to get a piece of paper out. We're going to do a little questions. Let's use one of those.
Is there a reason why you have it all over the floor? Okay. I thought so, but I wasn't sure.
So, we're going to do a little 21 questions.
I'm gonna be honest, I was gonna come in and just pick it up.
We're going to do 21
My
minus
OCD
7.
was killing me.
Yeah, my OCD was like 3.
We're going to do 21 minus 7 questions, so we're going to do 14. But 21 questions, there's no song called 14 questions. So that's 21 questions. What I got for you is I want you to answer these questions with short and simple answers. These aren't long answers. Write down your answer response if you need to.
Just like number the questions.
Yeah, please number them. Please number them. 14. Question number 1. What's your favorite color? What's your favorite color? Favorite TV show or movie? You don't have to, if you've got one that stands out more than the other, list that. But your favorite TV show or movie? Number 3, what's your favorite food? Maybe you had it this past Memorial Day. But like you got one thing of food that you gotta eat. What's your favorite? This isn't your favorite meal off, an item at Applebee's or your favorite meal at Chick-fil-A. What's your favorite food? What's your favorite food? You gotta choose. Number 4, what's your favorite animal? What's your favorite animal? Could be a pet, could be an exotic animal, it could be an animal that's you've never actually seen in person before, but you enjoy, you like. What's your favorite animal? Okay. 5, biggest pet peeve of yours. Okay? Biggest pet peeve that you have. I hate when that person keeps tapping their pencil on the desk when they're doing nothing, or when they tap their foot up and down. I hate when people say things behind people's back. What's your biggest pet peeve? What gets to you more than anything else? Number 6, what's your favorite hobby? What do you do in your free time? When you're not in school, when you're not working, when you don't have a family obligation, you've got free time. What do you want to do with it? What's your hobby?
It's sad, this is my favorite one. This is all I do.
Number 7, how many siblings do you have? How many siblings do you have?
talking about like blood.
Blood. Do you want to count step siblings? That'll count as well.
I mean, I was thinking
Siblings
with
are
the
separate.
option too, but
How many siblings do you have? Number 8, what's your most treasured personal item? What's your most treasured personal item? Something, there's a fire that happened, what would you need to grab? You value, obviously, everything you own. You don't just dismiss some things, but what's your most valued item? It can come in many shapes and sizes. I'm not here to define what that item must look like or be like. Number 9, dream job. What's the dream job title you would like to have? You show somebody your business card, it says so-and-so, right underneath it, this job title. It can be one that's already out there, it can be one that you're creating right now. If you're thinking of, this would be the title that I would love to have as a job title. So think outside the box if you need to. Dream job.
I'm making up my own title.
Number 10, random fact about you. Random fact. This isn't for 2 truths and a lie, but it's something that most people would not know about you unless they are close with you, unless they're your close friends or close family members. It's not something that a general person would probably know about you. Let's keep it appropriate, but what's a random fact, something that is not able, someone's not able to find out on the surface level about you. They got to know you, or you got to be trusting in them to divulge that information. So number 11, we're almost to the end here. What's the best quality you can bring to a team? And this is not a long answer, but what's the best quality that you bring to a team? We all bring different unique strengths and talents and skills and knowledge and backgrounds and experiences, but what's the best quality, what's the best thing you bring to a team? Number 12, what motivates you? What motivates you? And this could be the simple, not a long drawn out answer, but what motivates you to succeed? What motivates you to be better? What motivates you to be a great team member?
All of my answers.
So what motivates you? What motivates you? It could be a thing. It could be a physical thing. It could be more of an intangible trait. But what motivates you? Number 13, person you would bring with you, living or dead, on a safari expedition. The person you choose, you'd want to bring with you on a safari expedition, okay? They can be living or they can be dead, or they can be a character in a movie or a series. A person living or dead, you would bring with you on a safari expedition.
Morgan Freeman, so you can narrate it with.
That's your answer? That's
No,
your answer.
I'm not.
Yeah, they could-
Monty Python's King Arthur.
That's your answer. We'll spin off on the question of who would you have dinner with, living or dead. But everyone's heard that question, so let's go so far.
Serious Clubhouse. That's what we call it.
And then finally, what do you want to do to change the world? Think one sentence max, nothing more than one sentence. What would you do to change the world? What would you do to change the world? You don't have to invent endless air supply. You don't have to cure every disease in the world, but it can be as simple as I want to turn around the negativity in our world and make it more positive, to something like health and world hunger. Anything in between. What could you do, and what would you want to do to change the world? Now, as you're finishing up this answer, the reason why we did these questions is because it's a way for us to learn not just about ourselves, but learn about each other. Any team has to have some relationship, has to have some rapport with one another. It's the only way great teams work. okay? It's part of being a team member, okay? So the way you do that is you answer and find out these questions, or find out questions that you have about each and every person.
I wrote the 14.
So what I want from you is I'm gonna give you the choice of selecting 2 of these answers, and you're gonna tell them to us. And you get to choose the 2 that you want to give your answer to. Just make sure you restate, hey, this is my favorite hobby or whatever it is, so that way we know. But guess what? We want to find out 2 things about you that bring us closer, that connect us more with you, that give us a little understanding of where you're coming from. If you said something about what you do to change the world, and I find out what Josh wants to do to change the world, it's like, man, now I know a little bit about him. I know where he's coming from. I know what drives him maybe a little bit. Now we can work better together. So all these questions help build more teamwork. So you get to pick the 2, but give your answer. You don't have to give a big response about it. Oh, I chose the Bobcat because of X, Y, and Z. But just give us the answer and the question you chose. So we'll start with Lucas, because Lucas is ready to go.
Number 3, pizza.
Pizza.
And number 13, I have Julio Jones.
Julio Jones? All right, what about you? Just 2 questions.
I'm trying to decide if I want to do 9 and 10 or 9 and 14. I think I'll do 9 and 13. Dream job, I kind of made up my own title. Yeah, make sure I had the right one. Okay. So my job title would be Young Master of the Photoshop Realm.
Yeah. I like it.
And 13, sorry. Person you bring with you, living or dead, on a safari expedition, I put my buddy Taki, because he is a great cook and can make the best out of little resources.
He's thinking survival, thinking the way to enjoy himself. I like it. Josh, what about you?
I'm gonna do 13 to 14. 13, person you would bring with you on a safari expedition. I chose logic just because after just hearing, because I like with what videos he's done on his YouTube channel and whatnot, I think it'd be just awesome to explore whatever part of being that is Africa or Brazil or something like that on a safari expedition. It sounds like it'd be really
You
cool.
get that one-on-one time, you get to pick his brain a little bit, yeah.
And then 14, what would I do to change the world? I want to try to help stop global warfare, because I feel like as long as we're trying to kill each other, we're not really doing much to help each other.
I like it. Luis, what about you? 2 answers to the questions that you wrote down.
Favorite foods, pizza, favorite colors, blue.
And you might ask yourself, well, why does knowing someone's favorite color matter? It's their birthday at the office, and you've got a choice of balloons you want to get them. If you know their favorite color, wouldn't that look good to give them their color magenta that they really love, or get them that new mug and their favorite color with their favorite animal on it? Like, that's something that good team members do that allow teamwork to be thriving in their group. Okay? Knowing some of these things about each other helps make teams better. If all we do is just work and we work and we work and we work and we never get to really know each other, that doesn't create teamwork. That just creates a time where I work with you, you work with me, we get the job done, see you later, bye. That's not teamwork to me. There's a lot more that goes into it. And so you got to ask these questions to people you work with and are a part of teams with. It helps you know a little bit. Because when the snowballs are flying, who do you want with you? When you're in the trench, who do you want with you? When you're in the trenches, who do you want with you? What kind of team member do you want? You got to know them. If you know their strengths, know their background, know their likes, dislikes, you get to know them a little deeper and more. Now you're willing to fight with them. You're willing to help them out. You're willing to get on the same level. Hey, I know so-and-so's going through a rough time because I know how much he values his family. And I know his great-grandpa living in Montana is going through a hard time with cancer, and that's why he's down at work today. And while everyone else is saying, why is, so-and-so, moping around and grumpy and not being very polite, hey, guys, listen, I know him. I know his love of his family, and he's just going through a tough time with his family. You can stick up for each other on teams and collaborate better. And then when you got to throw the snowballs, you know who to have on your team, who has the best arm, who has the most accuracy, okay, all those things. If I got 2 keys for you about being a part of a great team and teamwork, number 1 for you moving forward is you got to find the right team. You got to find the right team. That's half the battle. You need to find the right team that is best for you and that you are also best for, okay? About 75% of employers rate teamwork and collaboration as very important, meaning it's required. Yet only 18% of employers or employees get communication and evaluations on their performance reviews. So a lot of companies are valuing teamwork and collaboration but aren't following through on it. You want to make sure you're on teams that follow through on it because that makes you better. Okay? If you are on a team where you don't get communicated to, you don't get told how to do things, or you aren't given the best feedback, well, that's not helping you. And so now you're part of a team where you don't like to be on it. I mean, if you're going to work, the biggest team you're probably ever going to be on is your family and your work. Okay? Both of those things, work and family, you're going to be around for a long time. And you're going to spend a majority of your time, at least 40 hours potentially at a job, and then at home, 20, 40, 50, 60, 100 hours more with your family. And so if you don't have great teamwork, if there's no communication happening, imagine yourself walking into that job every day saying, oh, I love what I do, but there's no teamwork here. Like, I feel like I'm on an island. No one helps me. No one gives me a feedback. There's no teamwork amongst our group. Everyone's just a bunch of individuals. That doesn't help you. You don't want to work for that. You don't want to go to that job every day in, day out, month after month, year after year. You don't want to do that. You don't want to go to a family where there's limited communication and no one helps each other and works with each other and be supportive of that family. That's going to drive you up the wall. So you need to make sure you find the best team that helps you succeed. And it starts with the fit. The fit makes all the difference. Obviously, Cinderella found the right fit for her, and the right fit for you will allow your team to have the ball. No pun intended. Okay, with Cinderella. You got to find the right fit. If you've ever tried on shoes, you know when you've tried on a shoe that's a little snug, or it's not as wide and you need a wider shoe, or it's cramping in on your pinky toe and your toes are feeling crushed and smushed. Like, you don't want to wear a shoe like that. Like, imagine if you had to wear a shoe like that every day, day in, day out, and you just, over time, you're hurting your feet. You say, I can't do this. I can't walk the next day. My feet and toes are killing me. So when you're finding the best team, the fit makes all the difference. If you don't fit into what that team wants to do and pursue, if you don't fit the values that that team has, then you need to take a careful look at what you're joining and what you're being a part of, because what team you are a part of directly has an influence on you and your ability to grow and be the best you can be. So the fit makes all the difference. Second, you got to check leadership. In order for you to find the right team, you need to do a little background check on the leadership. Just like they would do a background check on you, you need to do a little check on them. Okay? Toy Story 4 coming out, excited about that, taking to your leader, classic scene. But you need to find yourself and get in touch with that leader. What are the ratings of this leader? What have they done? What's their experiences? Do people enjoy working for this person? Are they good at communicating? Are they going to be a leader that allows you to do your job? There's some leaders and bosses where they say, I'm going to tell you what to do every single moment of the day. Hey, I know you're really good at being creative, but hey, this is how we do it. You do it this way. And you're like, well, I like being creative. I like figuring things out, and you're going to take that away from me. I don't know if I like this team. Okay, so you need to check leadership out. You need to find out, is this a good place to be in? Is the leader who runs this team, are they going to help you grow? Maybe you find out, hey, I don't know if I'm ready for this position, but I know this leader is going to make me better. They're going to get the very best out of me. And that's key too, because you want yourself to grow and develop. So part of that is leadership, so check it out. And then third, good teams make you ultimately better. So you want to join teams and be a part of a team that not only you can add to, because you want to give, you don't want to just glean, but you also want to find teams that help make you better, that take your strengths and go from this level to this level. So find teams that make you better. Find teams that unite with you, that are good to work with, that care more about just not you, the worker, but you, the person. Good teams matter. 33% of millennials want collaborative workspaces, meaning that more and more younger people are saying, we want to work with other people, we want collaborative, open workspaces. We don't want the cubicles of old. Okay, we want to be able to work in open, free environments. We want to be able to work from home. We want to be able to work in outdoor environments. That's where things are going, and if you don't know how to work with teams and find the best fit, you're going to be out of luck. You're going to be feeling like you're in the middle of an island by yourself. Okay? At the end of the day, you got to know what you want to look for in a team. What do you want to look for? What are characteristics? What are values that a team has that you want to be a part of? You got to know that. If you don't know that, you're going to struggle, and you might join the wrong team and have some negative side effects because of it. So be very careful. Okay? All right. I need 2 people to be paper holders. We'll go Josh and Lucas because Hunter might have some good ideas. Everyone needs to be up here. You're going to have 4 minutes to fit as many pieces of paper between Josh and Lucas as possible. So we're going to start with a 1. You guys can go hands up. You can put your hands. That counts as 1 piece of paper. Every other piece of paper has to fit in between Josh and Lucas. The papers cannot be folded. The papers cannot touch. So I can't put another piece of paper right underneath here that touches this one. But they have to be physically touching both Lucas and Josh here. Your goal is to see how many pieces of paper can you get in 4 minutes. Okay? Papers can't be folded. Papers can't be touching other pieces of papers, but they must be in touch with Lucas and Josh. All right? So obviously, you don't have to stay in one way, shape, or form. You guys figure it out to find the way to get the most pieces of paper.
Have you seen that video where it's like people transferring a card between their mouth?
You can't use adhesives. No adhesives. Lucas beat me to the punch. Or Louise beat me to the punch. No adhesives. No tape. No sticky tack.
Have you seen that?
No glue. Yeah.
There's people that
You're
are like
thinking of-
transferring a card through like their suction of their mouth,
Mhm.
and then some guy just walks up like
Oh,
while
yeah.
they're mid, just
Yeah.
and just rips the card out.
All right.
So they're just-
4 minutes. Ready? Go. How many pieces of paper? And you guys can all work in on this. So Lucas and Josh aren't
You
just.
just want to step on that? Yeah.
Okay. It's in contact, right?
It's got to contact both of
Here we go, guys. Yeah, and then we'll.
Oh, man, this is a little close.
And then
You
we'll.
you guys can move however you need to move. You guys can coordinate to work and move however you need to move.
And you guys want to put the paper in between you guys like that with the other hands? Yeah, good, got it. All right. And then we'll go to the mountain. Just stay still, don't move. Okay. Now,
Hit everything.
that's very, oh, shoot.
That's very fair.
It's okay, it worked. So you guys don't want to do like a video, right?
Oh wait, no, maybe I can get this between your ears. Okay, move your head slightly.
There you go, guys.
Oh.
Yeah,
No, I don't think I can do
there
this.
you go.
Get over from me.
There you go.
How can we collaborate and do this as a team?
I want to turn your head a bit, my guy.
I can't.
Okay, move
No,
your sword.
you might have to pick things up and move around.
Wait, that still counts. It's still touching both of
It's
them.
got to touch both, but it can't touch other pieces of paper.
Oh, it's touching his
Yeah,
paper.
it can't. If it's touching another piece of paper, it does not count.
I mean, that one is. Oh, wait, no, it isn't.
Okay, other knee.
Okay. There you go, guys.
Other knee.
I'm gonna fall.
Let's see.
Okay, I think that's it.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about it.
He's got 90 seconds. 90 seconds.
Okay, maybe if we lower this a bit.
Yeah, then we can.
Okay.
There you go. And then we can do that. There we go. That's all we got. Let's see.
How many is that?
Oh wait,
I
no,
mean,
I'm there.
There you go, guys.
Okay, it touches. No, it is.
Wait, spot there, the papers are touching.
There you go, guys.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
It's not folded.
Yes, hold still.
Perfect opportunity to cut it.
25 seconds.
There you go, guys. It's not folded.
You know, as long as I do this,
Just
as long as I
fits.
don't have to look at you, I'm alright.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5,
Email that to me.
4, 3, 2, 1. All right, we got 12. Let's drop. So I think what you saw there is, yeah, sometimes two people got to be in the mix, but it takes a team to collaborate, communicate, to find the best way to succeed. And the goal of this task was to get the most pieces of paper touching two people without touching other pieces of paper as possible. And so to be creative and intuitive, I mean, people have gotten 20, 30 plus pieces of paper in this before, because you got to think outside the box. Maybe you have to think, if I move my leg one way, if I turn back.
First hour, good.
They only got 12.
Dude, we could have done this and done it with
How
our.
many did we
No.
Exactly.
We got what?
You could have.
No.
Because that would have been 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's 4 right away.
Wait, you got 12? Wait.
Yeah,
I
we
got
had,
12.
but if we would have done it with our elbows too, we could have had 14.
See, then now if we do it again, we'd have a better chance at getting even better.
That's true.
But that's part of teamwork. That's part of teamwork, collaborating a little
Hey,
bit.
we tied, so it's not bad.
Who was the people doing it?
It was Madison and Abby.
I seem to be someone who a lot of organizations bring out that help them build winning teams. So I've worked with a lot of NBA teams, NFL teams, college teams, corporate teams, school teams, you name it. I love working with
You know
teams.
what I'm
One
looking
thing I
forward
know
to?
is that a united team is a powerful team.
So,
a positive team is a
my dad
powerful
told
team.
me
So what I want to talk about
when I
today
graduate, I
is
can
the
get pretty much
power of
anything.
one team.
He made the same deal with my
One
brother.
united,
That never really
positive
happened.
team, and the
But,
difference that a team can make
I
when
told my
they
dad
truly
that
come
I
together,
need a new
work
computer.
together, serve together,
Which I
and
do.
ultimately have an
So
impact
when I
together.
graduate, I'm gonna
And
get
one
broke
team
down
starts
for
with one culture.
That's what it starts with. Culture is king. Culture is king. In any great team, there is a significant use of culture in that environment, in that working environment. Culture is a key buzzword you hear all the time. I like it, and I was reminded, like when they had the college basketball coaches who were just hired in the last couple months, someone created a montage of all the press conference for when they were hired. And I kid you not, the word culture was used about 20,000 times. Like it was, we're going to create a culture, and our culture is going to be this, and culture, and culture, and culture. Every coach, every leader, every organization, every team has to have culture to succeed. If there is no culture, it's probably a bad culture, okay? And you can even have culture that is bad. But culture, great culture, that is king, and it generates a lot of success with any good organization, okay? 97% of employees believe that the alignment with the team impacts the outcome of a task or project, meaning the culture. The culture of the group and the culture of the team, it directly influences the ability to successfully accomplish the task and be successful in whatever it is that the team is trying to be successful in. It has a direct correlation. Your culture has to be at the root of what you do. It impacts how you think. It impacts how people interact. It impacts people and what they do. Like it impacts everything. It permeates through everything within a team. It really does. It influences as soon as you walk in the door as well. Anytime you walk in the front door of an organization or a business or a team locker room or any place where a team works out of, you notice the culture right away. You get a feeling. It's like an aura. Like it's like a mist that hits you, and you get an indication of what's this culture like for this team. It really matters. Okay? Culture sets the tone for everything that's done. It impacts how you think, how you act, how you interact with other people. That's what culture is. Okay, so you've got to set up a culture within your team that you're a part of that allows you to do those things, that allows you to be great in those things. Second, an embedded thing because it's posted everywhere. Great cultures have things posted on the walls, posted in the front lobby, posted on the door, posted in every email communication. They have their mission statement put out there for everyone to see because that's their culture. It's embedded into everything they do. Not just some of the things, but everything. Third, culture is defined. That's why we have mission statements, because culture has to have words that define it, that characterize it. You can say you have culture, but what is it? And it needs to be defined. So make sure that you define the culture of your team. Be a part of that. Don't just be a bystander. Help define the culture. Okay? And then bad culture is as much of a choice as choosing good culture, positive culture. Culture centered around relationships and people. Bad culture is a choice. There's conscious and unconscious decisions that teams make to say that we're going to take steps towards the bad culture stairwell. You're gonna go down that bad culture path. Be very, very careful of not only yourself making those decisions, but being around teams and other people who make those decisions as well. Okay, because while there is a point where we can say, hey, well, let's right the ship, let's start fixing some of our mistakes, there comes to a point where if you create a culture that is bad and negative, it's very hard to come back from. It really is. Ultimately, something has to be broken out. People get let go. People lose their opportunities. Companies get shut down. People lose their money. Bad things then have to happen for things to turn around and go the other way. So culture is king. You have to build a sustainable culture within your team in order to succeed. And that's having good teamwork skills. It really is. Okay? There are different ways that teams look at building cultures. There is. Culture is defined, like I said. And so maybe that's teams coming together and brainstorming what is our culture. What feeds into what we want to have happen in our team, in our organization, in our department, in our group. And that could be a brainstorming method. That could be defining what is culture, what does that look like, okay? Every team is doing different things. A basketball team is going to do things differently than the financial department in a business, okay? But at the end of the day, what are the core competencies of that team in that culture? You need to define those, and putting them out for everyone to see is a must. So not only just brainstorm them up here, but you have to get them out. You have to produce something. You have to put it up on a wall. You have to put it up in writing that makes sure everyone knows what our culture is. And it has to be talked and acknowledged every single day. You don't just create a culture and then revisit it only when you need to, or revisit it only in the follow-up meetings or the yearly evaluations. That's not the time and only time that culture should be factored in. Culture should be factored in to everything. It should be communicated in everything you do. It should be a reason why you do every activity, why you do every production, why you do every repetition of something. It has an impact on everything. And it has to be influenced and reminded to people daily. Okay, so they take hold of it. There's different kinds of culture. You can maybe put different labels to culture. You could put the championship team culture. Okay, you could put a competitive culture where people are thriving to compete and succeed, and they're working with each other to be the best they can be. You can have a country club culture where everything's very laissez-faire, very relaxed, very chill. Okay, you can put every label you want on it. Does it get the job done? Does it create something that you want to be a part of? Does it create a good team atmosphere? Okay, there's a lot of people that will sacrifice a lot. They'll sacrifice playing time. They'll sacrifice salary. They'll sacrifice maybe some fringe benefits in order to be part of a really great culture. Okay, they'll be willing to say, you know what, I'm going to work and not be the guy, but I'll be one of the guys because I love this culture. I love what they're building. And so whatever label you want to give to it, at the end of the day, it has to work. It has to be something that is highly morally and extremely valuable to the people that are a part of that culture. Okay. So many tips. You can read books and books and books, and I encourage you to be a part of a team that looks at every facet of building a culture. You don't just get it by looking at one guy. You don't just look at John Gordon stuff and figure out what culture is for you and your team. You need to take a look at everything that's out there. What can build your culture? And you might just like one little detail that John Gordon says. But if you like it, take a hold of it. I do it all the time. I hear something, I hear a quote, or I hear something that somebody else does, and hey, let me take that. Let me take what they do, and how can I add that and make that a part of the culture that I want to create? Okay, you can do so many great things that build up a culture, but you need to start building it, and it has to be a diligent effort to create culture within a team in order to take it to where you want to go. Next game you can play is a little 1, 2, 3. And this game is you count to 3. Crazy. So we're going to start, we start by partnering up. So I have you and somebody else partner up. And what you do is you say, okay, we're going to partner up, we're going to count to 3. I start by saying 1, and then my partner says 2. I say 3. They say 1. I say 2. They say 3. And we go back and forth. Okay? The key with it is to communicate and to be on the same page and to be able to look that other person in the eye and say, okay, what you do, I'm going to follow up with. And then you follow up with what I said. And we work together to accomplish the goal of successfully counting to 3. Sounds easy, but when you put yourself in a situation like this, sometimes we lose focus, or we get, we start losing engagement because we start laughing at what somebody does. So that's your first round. okay, and an alternating style. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Building up a rhythm until it's like a precision motor running. It's just like bam, it's working out. Yeah. Second round is this, okay? You replace the 2 with a clap. You replace the 2 with a clap. The reason we replace with a clap is because it puts another focus in on what we're trying to get done. So by putting the 2 with a clap, we have to focus on what the person in front of us does. So if the other person has a 1, I got to be ready to clap to do my job. And then they got to be ready to respond with 3. Well then, hey, guess what? Second time around, I'm going to say 1, and you're going to have to clap. So we learn to work with each other. We learn to communicate like any great team does. And a lot of teamwork comes down to some interpersonal communication, and communication often done with one other person at a time. A lot of times our communication on teams aren't with 10 people maybe, they can be, but more often than not, I would say the majority of the time you're communicating within a team, it's with 1 or 2 other people, okay? And you need to have that communication be effective. It needs to get from point A to point B. If it gets lost in translation, now our teamwork is suffering. Third round is we're going to separate the number 3 and add a foot stomp to it, and I mean stomp. So you're still going to count out to 3, 1, 2, but instead of saying 3, we stomp. Okay, and you stomp. I want your energy and enthusiasm to get into this. Okay, we stomp. And then we go back to counting 1, 2, 1, 2, stomp. 1, 2, stomp. We got to be, again, on point, just like we did with the clap. We got to know where each other's at. We got to know what each other's job is, not just here and now, but coming up. Because our roles are constantly going to be changing. And so in the flow of a day, a game, an event, we got to be able to work together as a team and make sure that things are covered. Make sure we're staying on point. Counting to 3. The 1, 2, 3 game is a great game for teamwork and building those communication skills. And you got to have communication. For any great team, the third key is communication. You got to have culture within a team. The third most forgotten thing, I think, is communication. Okay, if I had to give you 3. The reason communication is so important is because the lack of it often destroys any team. Okay, people just go about their business, they don't really talk, they don't really engage, and now we're hurt. We're hurt. 86% of employees and executives cite the lack of collaboration or ineffective communication for workplace failures. More often than not, workplace failures, team failures result from poor communication. If we solve our poor communication issues, we're going to be better off. We're going to be productive. We're going to be succeeding more times than not. It starts with communication. It starts with knowing how to do emails, knowing when to talk with somebody, how to verbally communicate with somebody. And all the communication tools that we have need to be used. Okay, if we don't communicate, if we wait to the last second, if we don't communicate at all, we only communicate half-truths. Okay, we only tell the person what they want to hear, not what they need to hear. If our communication is not in tip-top shape as a team, there's going to be more failure than success. Inevitably, every failure is a result of some form of miscommunication every single time. There's also a reminder that, hey, communication is a choice. It is a choice. You choose to communicate or not communicate. Usually it's a conscious decision, but it can be an unconscious decision, but it is a choice. It is a choice you are making. Okay, it's a choice teams are making. And it can be done with little effort. All it takes is a lot of effort to say, hey, I'm going to reach out to so-and-so and let them know I won't be there. Or, hey, I'm having issues with this. Can you help me out? Or send a quick email. Hey, this is what I've created so far. Tell me what you think. It takes just a little bit of effort. Just a little bit. You don't have to go around and around and around and around 9 times in a circle to get effective communication through to somebody else on your team. It just takes a little effort, and we got to make the choice to do that. We certainly do. It keeps everyone aware. If we communicate on a team, it keeps everyone aware of what's happening, what's going on, what's working well, what our setbacks are, what we need to improve on. Communication, open communication lines are essential for keeping people aware and in the loop. Okay? If people are feeling like they're in the loop and they're communicated with, they're going to still have the drive to work and do great things as a team. If they feel like they are being left out, singled out, or put outside the box or the wall of communication, then they're not gonna work as hard, they're gonna lose interest, they're gonna lose the appeal to say, well, why should I work really hard for our team's success when I'm kind of being kept out of the communication loop, or I'm not really communicated with about what's going on. Like I hear rumors of stuff that's happening, but no one's really told me, and so I'm walking on eggshells while I'm at work or on my team. It keeps us aware, it certainly does. Third, effective communication is what needs to happen. Not just communication all the time, but effective communication. How I would define effective communication is this. It's communication that gets what the knowledge or idea or thought or opinion or concept that I have in my mind, and it transfers it to you, and you get that. You understand what I'm talking about, what I'm communicating, what I'm showing you. If it gets lost, I can have all the great ideas and great things to share and communicate. I can make the choice to communicate, but if what I do actually communicate gets lost or gets hidden in translation and doesn't reach its other point, because then go from A to B, it wasn't effective. So effective can mean, you know what, I need to simplify what I'm saying. Effective can mean I'm going to not only talk to this person, but send them an email. I'm going to send them an email and go by their office and say, hey, I sent you that one thing on your email. If you could just check that out, I appreciate it. Effective communication means that the other person knows what needs to be done after you talk to them, or knows what needs to be known after you talk to them. If you just open your mouth and with a bunch of gibberish and just talk a million miles a minute, you're never going to effectively communicate with your team. And they're going to be just as lost, if not more lost, than they were before you started trying to communicate with them. So be an effective communicator, not just a communicator. Great teams have effective communication, okay? How do you prefer to be communicated? How do you prefer communication to be done? Ask yourself that question. Maybe you prefer it to be more digital. Maybe you prefer it to be written. Maybe you prefer it to be verbal for you. Maybe you prefer it to be a combination. Maybe you just prefer that communication is done in some way, shape, or form, and it's done in a timely manner. So as long as it's done on a timely manner, you're okay with it. Ask yourself that question, because how you want to be communicated with should be known by your team members. So that way there's no hidden agendas, there's no hidden secrets. Like, hey, you know, Tom always likes to be addressed verbally. You need to talk to him. You can't just send him an email. He's not one that will respond well to that. You got to know. So ask yourself that question. Also look at this. What ideas do you have for team communication? And present that to your team. Hey guys, this is what I'm thinking for our team. I think we should get together every Friday for lunch and just kind of chit chat. Let's talk about what's going on in the office, in our world, in family. Let's communicate. Let's set up times where we can openly communicate with one another at a lunch chat. Or let's start a group chat. Or maybe you're saying let's start a brainstorming session via a certain email every week. Whatever that is for you, and I'm not saying there's one way, but look at fostering that communication within your team and being all in together on that. If someone takes initiative and say, hey guys, how can we better communicate with each other? You never know what responses you'll get, and that can make you successful in the future. Okay, it really could. It can make all the difference. Finally, you look at some statistics here about the ability to work together with other team members, and you see the classic thing, team stands for work together, everyone achieves more, but it really is something I believe in. If everyone works together, everyone communicates, everyone is in the right fit, everyone is believing in the one culture that the team has, great things can be accomplished. Everyone can achieve more. You can take your success individually and accomplish some really great things. The team success can be elevated, and now it's better for everyone. So every stat you can look at points to great teams, having great teamwork, and doing some of the little things that separate them, okay? Only 5.9% of companies communicate goals daily. That's not a good thing for that team. That means no one's really aware of the goals and objectives that that team has. So you think they're going to hit them? No. No, they are certainly not, okay? 99.1% of employers prefer a workplace where people identify and discuss issues truthfully and effectively. That's part of team. Identifying issues, openly communicating about those things, okay? 54% of employers say a strong sense of community, great coworkers, celebrating milestones, a common mission, kept them at the company longer than was in their best interest, meaning that when you are part of a great team, you will stay longer than you probably needed to, or, you know, you even thought you would. Hey, I only thought I'd work here for a couple of years and just kind of get my stuff out of the way, and then I move on to the next place. But the fact that the team culture and the team and work environment was so great, you're like, I want to be a part of this. I don't want to leave. This is a great situation for me, okay? According to an Alfresco survey of more than 753 business professionals, it was found that nearly 83% of professionals depend on technology to collaborate. 82% of the participants also felt that they would feel impacted if their technology to collaborate was lost. Technology is a huge part of our teamwork today. We need to make sure we are using it effectively. We're not disregarding it, we're not using it in bad ways and poor judgment, but we need to use technology and advancements to make our teams better. Maybe you could be a part of creating that team advancement. Teams need teamwork. Yes, teams need teamwork. You have to find ways to develop your teamwork skills to be a part of great teams that have great successes for them and you as individuals. Take that for what it's worth, but grow in your teamwork. Understand how important it is for you moving forward in whatever team you're a part of. Again, you're going to have a family. You need to make sure that team is taken care of. You're going to have maybe a sports team or a club or some group you're a part of, that you need to make sure you're the best team member you can be for them to be effective. You need to have a team at work. It could be a smaller team, it could be a part of a big team. You need to know your role and you need to be effective in that team and know how to be an influence in a positive way. There's so many teams you're going to be on for the rest of your life. You need to have teamwork skills that allow you to thrive and stay in those situations.